Hello and welcome. Today we are going to do some more kit bashing. I was feeling for some Nurgles Mechanicus, and for this we will use those two kits. And my idea was basically we take the head from him, like the little nozzle he has, and put it into under his head, and he will get the scroll and everything. And my idea or theme was like he's trying to summon a demon, so maybe we can like use some bits from the demon to like do like a summoning circle stuff. And yeah, I think we are ready to go. So after checking out a bit the assembly guides for both models, I think our grand plan is that we build our Archmagos till here, till we are with no head and weapon. Then we will try to graft on the back part plus the front part. It is sadly in two pieces. If we see here, we have the head here, so we maybe need to cut around here, and then we have this piece and our mouthpiece here that we need to try to attach to the still then separate head, or like maybe we put the head on. We will see. I was thinking you can also hold the scroll. I think that is pretty nice bit to have and to include. Also goes a bit longer with our little guy, if I find him here. And we will of course put him also onto the base. We cannot leave out the little guys. So yeah, we'll start building. I am already struggling on the second or third step. I managed to build this. And now I'm stuck here. I have zero idea what rotations they want me to take. I think like something this, and then we take this part like so. Or do I need to turn it? I think I need to turn. No, it should be looking like that. Then it goes here. No, there. I'm having troubles. Give me a few minutes and then we will be back. That is the way, I see. Okay, that is not clearly stated. But we'll quickly try to glue that up before I forget it again. Quickly take this. Okay, I'm just a bit difficult. Because first I wanted to show off that I'm trying out a new product. I got like a plastic cement pen when I was buying something. It was like a free gift, and I was trying to demonstrate it, and now I instantly took out the Tamiya fin because it goes better into the cracks. Well, what you basically do is like a fine liner or like a pen, just rub it on there. I have to say it's pretty nice to just put it onto the model. It's first a bit weird. You get used to it pretty fast. And the thing is that I don't really like of that product is that you can't really get into the crevices. Like this part is, I don't have the feeling that it is very secure in there. Because I didn't like run into that part. So I will just quickly hit it again with the cement. So we have a nice weld. So, and now we can continue. Okay, I glued together the body, and I found that I have a bit of a issue with gaps here. It is a bit gapping, even though I quite snug fit together the other pieces of the cloth. So I was thinking that I could maybe use like some sprue glue I made to fill that in, and then we will sand down everything once it has somewhat dried. Well, the front looks quite good. I think we need to goop also a bit in the back, so we get rid of that, of this seam here. While the body is drying, I already detached the mouthpiece and the worm that it is attached to. It is also was attached to the head. I didn't saw that. I thought it was just closely laid out together. But if we like put them next to each other, nicely fits around here. And then we just need to worm it till here. I was thinking, try to keep the head intact so we can use it for our summoning. So we just will use putty to fill this worm completely and attach it a bit with blue tack just to know where it will sit. And that was a pretty good idea because I already built up the staff, and as you see, it's not the original one. I, instead of the nib, took like a demon skull, so it looks more cool. It gives it a bit more of a shaman vibe. But the issue is, if I put on the staff, the face will be blocked, and that is not something we want. So I was thinking if I have maybe in my Archmag box some arms I can use. I'm hoping if I still have like a arm from the, what's it called? Not Manipulos, the other one. Nah. But it doesn't look good. A solution. As you see now, I used an Skitarii Ranger arm where I snipped off the gun, removed the seals and everything to attach it so it holds a book. I think this is from the Bavsarius Call kit, like the book he steps on, weirdly. And I will maybe sculpt the hand or find the hand adjacent to put there so it has like so it's gripping it, and we have him here holding the scroll. I think that will bring the model nicely together. I fiddled a bit around with the bits and decided to go with the long sleeve again, not with the short arm. Also found a fitting hand we can put under the book, and it's also all dried now. The only thing we need to do is fill this gap in so we have it nice looking. But before we do that, I think we attach the hand. somewhat dry, and I also changed a bit here the arm. I gave him the cool feather he had. I think it's making him look pretty cool. And the holding arm I moved under a bit to the back. Also attached like the last part of the scroll. And now we are in the territory where we greeble it up, aka we put on the rest of the weaponry of our little Archmag man, and also the big screaming part. Okay, we are now at the point where we are done with our plastic parts mashing. Can now go into the sculpting part. We have still here the back part that needs to be connected to the front facing part. I am already very happy how this is looking. It has a very cool dynamic pose. It looks like he's like throwing out the scroll. It's like, here, read Nurgle's information. But yeah, now on to the sculpting. So with our main reds highlighted, aka airbrushed in, we will start off with our main green Nurgle part, and for that I already prepped my palette a bit with one color, somewhat dark green. My idea is mixing slowly in a bit more of like a brighter green with white, and to like give it a bit more kick, we are going in with yellows. I am particularly using like a warmer yellow with this golden yellow, and then some neon green colors to really give it that outer world, different dimension feel. So let's get cracking. So here's our current progress. I already started painting a bit the teeth and the inside of the mouth. We will wash that a bit. What I also did with the greens I had still left over on my palette, mostly like this dark green and then some ivory, like off-white. I just put on a bit of like color on the parchment. To preserve a bit more the inscribing, I was thinking we can just take one of those beauty blenders, dab it a bit on our not wet palette, dry palette, to like get off the most pigments, and then we just dab it on there to keep in the inscriptions, and we will now try that out. Bam! That was pretty quick. We can now, I think, give it like a brown wash, so it is really looking like a old parchment. This one worked out pretty nice. So the wash is now dry, and I really like how the parchment is looking. I also took a bit of like the stocked green I had, and also washed it down with a bit of matte medium. That is very, very good. And then it looks very ragged and disgusting. Just wonderful. I also painted all the skin parts of our Archmag man. Also like the book he has on the side. Also just a bit brown and red mixed together with, I think I took ivory here and then washed it also with a bit of brown. So now I think we can color in his skin. For our skin I will use 3 different washes mostly. I have like those like a pre-mixed skin wash, and I will also use like an ink, violet, purplish. To really make it look disgusting, we will use some fluorescent colors. I will also later use this fluorescent color. First we start off with our flesh washes. Now it is a bit more hardcore, but now we go in with a bit more of just a wet brush without any paint and just take away all the excess, so it mostly stayed in small recesses, or the recesses we wanted to stay in. With that we can control a bit the flow of our wash and what areas it will stay in and stain, and what areas we want to keep somewhat clean. How we get it more disgusting is we take our neon yellow green and then just dab it onto some areas. There we go. And now we let that dry off a bit. Now we turn our attention to the metallics, and for that I just took some normal metallic color, here this dark brass one. We will map out our parts that will be brassy. I was thinking the Nurgle stuff will definitely be a brass color, like those parchment parts, also like some like the nail parts in the parchment. Here those, if I am putting them also into camera and into focus. There we go. Now with our metallics base metallic, I was thinking we going the true metallic route. I have like similar colors in lighter brass and silver we can use to highlight, and I was also thinking maybe introducing like some dirty down verdigris for our brass areas and dirty down rust. I think that will tie the model nicely together. And I also painted some white into our little Volkite blaster, so we can put in some of our leftover neon colors, so we have like a nice neon color glow charging up there. So the rust and verdigris effects have finally set in after a bit of time. I have like multiple versions, and I noticed this one is not really working, but this one is pretty pretty effective. I don't know, maybe it's a manufacturing error or something, but we are now rusted and crusted. And to make it nice and shiny again, we are going to somewhat dry brush our colors back on. Ton. Okay, I primed the base and already whitened out all the eyeballs I wanted to have white, so just made it easier for me to paint them later on. We will paint the organic parts like we painted here our little Archmag man, so we will use the same washes we will use before. So because we want our eyes a bit irritated, I took a bit of magenta contrast paint, and we will take this and brush that into the edges of our eyeballs. We take a clean brush and then just feather that out a bit. No, it wasn't fast enough in all areas. There are still some stuck areas, but that's okay, we can fix that. We just go over it again. You can also take a bit of paper and just dab off the excess, and that's good enough. We are now just choosing some funky eye colors we want to have. I was thinking we go with green, like a light blue, maybe some like purple, and yeah, let's also do an orange, why not? So we will basically draw little circles. You can do that either with a brush, or if you don't feel confident, you can also take your makeup brush. We can just test this here. If I re-moisturize this bad boy, we can just dab a bit of paint on, and then we just boop, ta-da, perfect circle. And then we can just basically go in with our brush and fix it a bit up. Drawback to using the sponge is that you don't really have control over it. I need to have eyes that are opened or big enough to just plop that in without touching any other part. But for like those big eyes, that is great. For like this one or for that one, I was thinking like giving it like a side eye. I don't think the sponge would work out, but for like this one, this bigger ones, they work great. I can highly recommend getting this sponge in your arsenal. established our base eye shapes. This one we already saw, it's a normal one. This one I gave a side eye. Here we got like a slit eye. This one just looking down. And for this one I gave it like a funky, the eye pupil iris. Iris is splitting up into two different ones. So like a dark purple and the blue one. Why not? But before we go and draw in the black dot, I was thinking we go and highlight up our eyes. Basically go around and give those little struts to highlight it. We want to go from the outside to the inside, so we have a big blob where we set our brush down and then swipe away quickly. Doesn't need to be much, but this is already helping. And we are not only going lighter, we are also going to take our base color and mix a tiny blotch of black in there, so we have a bit more darker desaturation than the lighter one, just so we have some color variation in our eyeballs, because our eyeballs are not one color. There we go. Just a bit, so we sell the illusion that we have different ones. And we just take our pure black and make a dot, and then we circle that out. There we go. There's our first eyeball. And I will now go on and do that to the rest of the other ones. For the metal plate in the middle, we will just keep it like so. I will not use metallics, I think else the main draw of our model will be taken away, but we will use some different weathering stuffs I got. I got gouache. I wanted to try that out. It's like a thicker paste like paint in consistency wise, but it is very nicely able to like stain surfaces and be used for weathering. Here we can probably as well take a bit of paper and just dab it off so we get a nice transition of it. We'll also take a bit of our darker color. With that in the other area, maybe like down this line, a bit more water so we get it like flowing nicely into our cracks and crevices. We will let that dry, and then it is time for the big reveal.